It's Jim. I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of what I usually do to do this setup for Uno, and I'll also explain what happened last night. So last night, my computer was in need for a reboot, but by the time that I determined that, it was too late. So let me switch over to these data files. So what I do is I rename them for the next date. So today, the 14th. And then when I started the stream, when it did come back, I'll show you what stage it failed last night. When it did come back, then I did not monitor, so I didn't have my headset on, so we didn't have any sound last night. So that was the other thing. So we'll deal with that. So okay, so now that I've got these dated for the 14th, that way we have a history of what we've done in the past. Now I go ahead and change it to Saturday the 14th. And it's possible that Paige has more wins. I'll check that tonight. As far as I know, Daniel and I, our win count stayed the same. I did notice that. So this is the thing that gives the big screen effect. So I'm doing this out of order. Usually I edit all my data files first, but I'll show you this. So I go to Congrats and Wins Tally, and I double click on Win Tally Full Screen because I have to change the data file to today. And this is what failed last time. When I hit browse, it just was not responding my file list. So I think it'll be okay tonight. So there you go. So I'll change that to, that's the only data file we've changed so far, and you'll see it change over here on the left. This is OBS, and whatever, like if I'm not live streaming right now, haven't even set up the stream, but whatever is on the right, it's called Studio View, so whatever's on the right is actually getting transmitted to YouTube in this case. So, all right, there's that, and then I'll go back to the data files and edit the second one. This is what has the scroll bar along the bottom. So each time there's a win, I update these files, save them back, just Control S, and then it updates. And then to allow a little bit more distance, I have some spacing in between this one. So that's what allows it to not show back to back. And we'll update that. So when I first started doing it, I thought things might get covered up. So I have three components that I just update out of historical, but this is the bottom scroll. It doesn't cover up anything depending on what game we're in. So we'll go ahead and update. And then I have one that's top, and I have one up a little bit more, but I don't use those. But I'll go ahead and update them just for historical. So just double click, change that to the 14th, the scrolling. And this is what was freezing for me last night. So just would freeze, and by the time I tried to diagnose and get it to go, it was too late. Okay, so now that's where we're at. Now, then the individual inboxes. So it used to be when just Daniel and I were playing, if he invited, he would be on the right. He would always invite first. So this is the normal setup. Now, a lot of times he ends up in the middle, which usually is just when he and I were playing teams. I'm always at the bottom, and show you that. But anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and clear these, and we don't care day by day because that's captured in these historicals. We'll clear out the win counts for tonight. Okay, so then we'll have all zeros there. So I have now set up Paige. When Paige first started playing, when we actually changed friend codes, that fell in. Come on. Okay, when we actually exchanged friend codes, I actually had her just on the left because that's where she was typically. I think Daniel is going to request a connection. That way all three of us can play. So I'm going to show you that if I have time. What will be new for tonight if it gets out there. We still don't have a way of communicating in the game, and that becomes important when Ubisoft kicks us, etc. Typically, Daniel and I are communicating on Facebook Messenger, but we don't have a connection with Paige, so doesn't really have that. So I'm going to show you what I normally do. So I don't have my lights on yet, but just to show you this view. Okay, so it's not showing the whole thing. I don't have my switch turned on yet, but this is where I just keep paper score, just to write it down quick in game, and then have a view that people can tell what I'm doing, okay? Because there's always a lag on YouTube, but at least you know, okay, if he hasn't invited yet, he's still keeping track or whatever, still setting up the next game or whatever. So okay, so just a quick walkthrough of what normal happens. So with nothing, here's what my normal switch looks like. I'll just turn it on real quick. And this is with nothing on. So it's just my HDMI to USB. It does show the date and time. We haven't updated the time yet. We're getting ready to do that. So that's why it still shows overtime from last night. And then a lot of unused things. So these active ones, the white ones are on. How to pass audio, etc. So I'm going to look at the audio in a second. But keep on cranking. Okay, so now the times. So the first thing I do is this is what sets up that first screen. So tomorrow night we'll play on Sunday. And this is already set up, so that all I had to do is Control S to save it, and this is automatically there. Show you what that looks like. Okay, so as you can tell, as soon as I Control S, it's there. Now the reason the times are not right is what, instead of getting out of OBS, because I haven't actually updated the actual time calculations, we'll see if that automatically fills in, but I'll show you that what happens if I don't do that. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to update the time. So I have 3 JavaScripts that run locally. They just take my time and calculate how many dates between now and then. So tonight, how long until 8 o'clock? And presently that's showing overtime because we went over 8 o'clock last night. But so I'm going to change that date, and then I'm going to go here, how many hours until 7 p.m. tomorrow night. So I'll change that to the 15th. And how many hours until the 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Now, switch back. And you can see that that has not refreshed yet. So typically I get out of OBS and get back in. That's the quickest way, but I'll show you how I do it otherwise. So just go to double click. All I have to do is scroll down and refresh the cache, and this will update. So you see now it instantly went to 1 day, 1 hour, 29 minutes until 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Okay, so I'll do the same thing here to get it to be 1 day. So down here, double click. Scroll down, refresh the cache. you now see that that's there. So now that we have, those are all the things that do the calculations. So I'm going to go to the normal view on Just Dance. And when I first started doing this, I thought that I might have to do the things. Now you notice that my box is over top where a page is hidden behind it. So normally that doesn't matter, just the fact that there's white there. But just to show you, okay, there's this. So here's it's 6:31 now. Now that's a surprise. So there must be a caching issue there. So it shouldn't be showing overtime. Let me think about where that is. Okay, I know where that is. So it's down in times. There we go. So NS date and time. So here, countdown to 8 p.m. today. Refresh the cache. And then that'll no longer show overtime. So as of now, we're going to play in about 27 minutes, but until 8 o'clock tonight, that's when the countdown begins. So sometimes we start a little early, etc. But anyway, so I'll show you that in context. This just to show you that Paige's count is ready. And that's our normal. So I'm going to hit continue just real quick. Okay. And then turn my other thing on. So, all right, now what I'm going to do is let me show you these other things. So, okay, so we have this that just shows the straight game and the audio. And then we have the individual win boxes. And then we have the congrats and wins tally. And what I haven't done yet is I used to congratulate Daniel when he would win a round or win the game. I have not added Paige to those yet. That's probably not going to happen tonight. And then this view just shows you, okay, what's he doing? He's updating. I haven't written Paige's win countdown yet because I'm sure that it's changed since last night. So let's take a look at that just to keep track of our total wins. And then this is what the NS things are called nested scenes, which are included in other scenes. So I can, anytime I want the time at the top, current time to the left, how many to the countdown, then I just display that. If I'm running down to, okay, we're done, but we haven't hit overtime. So if I'm still documenting our scores, I turn this off just so it doesn't show overtime when we really didn't hit it. All right, and then the next slide. Okay, there's our current countdowns for tomorrow night. The scenes there. Those are just text files. And then the NS webcams. That's just what gives this view here. I have an overhead camera and then a close-up. And then the primary display is the current one, so it's going to do an Alice in Wonderland effect because we have OBS showing OBS. So that's what causes that. But anytime I want to show actually what's on my screen, I'm recording with a different software right now so I can show you the setup behind the scenes. And then our headsets. So I'm going to go ahead and put my headset on and predict whether if I'm going to have an issue tonight with the audio. Occasionally the audio starts out bad, so I'll show you that. Even though I'm not live streaming, I'll show you this view. Alright, so turn my headset on. That's showing proper. A lot of times if I don't have my headset on, it'll say source not available. So that's right. Last night I was playing through my TV. That off. Skip over Facebook likes. Animation. Yeah, it's just the one that gives me the green view. Scroll banner with today's date on it. Yep, it's weird. It's not showing the proper. So that must be, maybe I didn't save it. See what happened there. Yeah, so I just didn't change this date here. Now Control S. Flip back. Now you see the 14th, and everything's 0. Is that right for tonight? So I didn't catch that. I didn't change that date. And then the headset. So the switch output, which gives the audio. Yeah, headset. It's not showing no source, so should be able to do it tonight. And I keep myself muted. I don't intend to pass audio. Sometimes it comes through my other webcams. And then I'll show you something that did not work out. It was just too much to keep track of in the game. But we actually had a way where we were actually tracking everything and publishing it to a local web page and outputting that. So so the last time I did that was on Sunday, June 23rd, 2024. But tell from the bottom to the top, okay, 1 round, here's game 2, game 3, 1 round. Then when we were doing 200s, game 3, 2 rounds, who won. And then it never fit, but what spatial rules that we were running, no spatial rules or a stacking 7 show, etc. So it was just too much to keep track of, but I still keep that source out there. So anytime if I wanted to send that to the, let's say I was keeping it up to date, then it would just be over here and be the deal. So I'm going to go back here. Okay, so now what I'm probably going to do, I'm going to try and find a spot. I'm going to go ahead and get into Uno a second. I'm going to show the normal view for it. Okay, so I temporarily muted the sound so I could talk. Um, so what I want to do is I want to find a spot, probably maybe right here, but I want to show what's in the game, what game we're in, and who's inviting next. Now that won't really work um, until Paige and Daniel are connected, because right now Paige can't invite anyone but me. I can't invite anyone but her, etc. So we're just alternating. Daniel invites and then Paige joins us, but just trying to get a setup where we all three can be in the sequence. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a new data file, show you how to set up, and may have to move it around out of the way because I want to always show the cards, etc. So maybe down here we'll see how this works, and it might be a situation where it changes game by game where I have to add it. But anyway, all I'm going to do is start off with a new text file. All right, so now call this Uno Next Invite. And where I want to add that is I want to add that to this sequence. So it's just dance, even though we can play more than just dance. I thought we might have to have one for each time when I just started. I just keep it. So get my mouse under control here. Come on. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add a source. That's a text. So text. And it's read from a file. And Uno Next Invite. No, that's obviously too big. So go ahead and select the font. It's probably too small. Let's see. Yeah, way too small. All right, so all right, so let's see. I don't want to stretch it too much, so let's just try to blow it up here font size wise. Okay, so let me just show you what's happening with what we got here. So just dragging it down here. And then I can make it a little bit bigger. So one thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to change it to a black collar. So I might as well fix that. Put a bold and not seeing anything obvious. I was thinking the color change was in here, but probably is. Okay, here we go. My mouse is driving crazy. Okay, now I'm going to see how much, now that we can actually see it, I want to see how much that blow up. See, the more I stretch it, the more distorted it becomes. So that's probably about the right size. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it back down. and go back in and change the font size, increase the font size. Let's try 36 is probably going to be too big. All right, so we'll look and see if that. So if I had more time, I could experiment with different games just to see whether that was going to fit okay. All right, so I could put a white background on that. Right now, I'm just going to leave it transparent like that, just so we get the flexibility about where we put it. But I don't really want to do two data files where I could do a current game one, put it somewhere else, hide it. Would turn the individual inboxes back on, just make sure that's what our normal game will look like right now. So next invite would be Daniel. So I will start off if Daniel has already made a connection with Paige where he can do the invite of Paige, then I might start off and change it to me being next and let Daniel lead off. But my plan is what I've been doing is I've been doing the first invite. And again, if I was broadcasting, this is where we'd be sending it out to YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and do my setup before I forget. Set up the game. So this will schedule it. I always do this up here when I remember, so it always picks up the last date. So we'll play tomorrow night, Sunday night, and then we'll play next on Tuesday, then on Thursday, then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, etc. So we'll go ahead and schedule it. So in a future video, I'm going to talk about some ideas that I have for how to communicate in the game. So if I get kicked and I don't want Daniel to have to give up a win if he's close, so he just finishes the game, tells me who the score, who won, what the score was, and what time it happened. That's how that works. And same with Paige. If I get kicked or she gets kicked, we don't know what her status is. If I get kicked, I can't see it any longer. So I'm not broadcasting the game. So I'm relying on other people to communicate. We don't have that communication right now, other than Daniel and I. So when Daniel and I play teams, we never say what card to play or whatever. We just talk about it's just about, hey, you're next, whatever. And I'm usually updating the score. He's usually inviting me before the deal. I know Paige is pretty quick about joining. So once I invite her, so that's just some behind the scenes about what happens, where we're at right now. I have a lot of I'm a computer programmer, so I have a lot of ideas about what I can do locally down the road. But for now, getting about 9 minutes out, so I'm going to go ahead and stop this video and hopefully get it shared out. So that's the other thing, is some things that might be password protected among the three of us. I have to have a way of communicating that to you guys, but right now this video is intended, if the public saw it, there's nothing that we're giving up other than that. But that's what I got to try to solve too, about how do we communicate secrets. Between Daniel and I, it's good. But how do I get secrets communicated to Paige where not anyone can quote unquote take over her style of communication? So anyway, go ahead and stop the video and see you all in a few minutes.